Welcome to Lists and Range lecture. So a list contains a sequence of values in square brackets, and each value can be a float, int, string, or variable. And each value in a list is called an element. And lists can contain nested lists, tuples, dictionaries, and much more. So the interesting thing about lists is that they're mutable. So elements in a list or dictionaries are mutable, whereas the elements in a tuple or string aren't mutable. As an example, we have num, which is a list equal to 10, 20, and 30, and then if I index by 0 to get the number 10, then I change that to being equal to hello, the string. As you can see here, now we have this replaced with the string hello. And then lastly, we have range, and range generates a specified list of numbers and is used with loops. Okay, so let's start off with the range, and it's very brief, so we'll just go with, let's say, range of 10. Run that, and we have just 0 and 10. Now we want to have the list of the values. We do list, wrap that rounds with the parentheses, run that. Now you can see I have 0 to 9 here. And note that it doesn't include the number 10. We have only 9 here. So if you want to have the 10, we do 11, like so. So it goes up to, but does not include the actual number within this range. Let's say, for instance, I want to start at a different value. Instead of the default value of 0, let's say I want to start at 5. What I can do is 5 and then 11, like so. So 5 to 10. And then I can do, let's say, 0, 20, and then 2. So I have 0 to 18. If I want to have the 20, I do 22 here. So what's happening essentially is that the first number is the start, the second number is the stop, and the last number here is the step size, 2. So I can change this to, let's say, a 4, and now you can see it's 0 to 20 with incrementing of 4 from 0, 4, 8, all the way to 20. Alright, and let's say, for instance, I do list range minus 50, and then we'll go up to 60, and we'll do a 10. So as you can see here, minus 50 to plus 50. I could change this as well to, let's say, 70, and put this to 80 like so. So you can see it's minus 70 all the way to plus 70. Okay, let's say we have nest, which is our variable. We're going to have some nested lists in here. So simply 1, 2, and 3, and let's say 4, 5, and 6. And then we'll do nest. As you can see here, I have these two nested lists. I could do an index of 0, and I could do one also of 1, like so. And I can actually multiply this, so we'll do 0 and then let's say 2. So you can see I have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Or I could do 3, etc. And also what I could do, let's say I have a new one. I'm going to have this new equal to list this time. I'll do range 5, then the list range 5, 10, and then new. As you can see here, 0 to 4 and 5 to 9. And also I can have, let's say, nest plus new. As you can see, they've been added together. So the nest and the new forming a new list here. Alright, so moving on from that, let's create our own custom list of values. And we'll have here just num equal to, let's say, 34, 2, and we'll do 45 and 22. Num, okay, so if I were to do type num, you can see it's a list. Then if I do num.tab, you can access all the various methods and functions. So we have a drop-down list here of append all the way down to sort. So these are all the various functions. Now if I were to do, let's say, append, just run that as it is. You can see I have function list.append. Now the list is a class and they contain various functions. So num is a list. It's an instance of the list class, and you'll learn what that means later on throughout this course. So if you want this particular function to perform its operation, you have to do parentheses here, and then some of them contain parameters. So if I do shift and tab, you can see I have a single parameter here called object. Okay, so I'm going to put it in, let's say, 100, and if I run this, and then do num, you can see I have 100 here appended onto the very end. Okay, so if I run this again, nothing actually changes, but what I need to do, because I'm recreating this particular num list, I need to actually separate them into different cells. So simply do the control or command depending upon your operating system. So hold that button and then also hold the shift button and then press the minus sign. So take a couple of attempts from me. like so. Okay, and then I'll do this again, and as you can see, we got another 100, run again, another 100, and again. So we have a total of 4 100s here. So let's say I want to remove them, and actually I want to remove all of the numbers and make this an empty list. So I can do dots clear, and now if I do num, you can see it's empty. So if I do type num, just get a list here. And also I could do type empty list itself, and with the same output. Alright, so I'm actually going to just recreate this. We'll have num.append, and this time, instead of being a single number of 100, I'm actually going to have a list. So I'm going to put in the same value, so 34 to 45, 22, and just 100, just one of them. Okay, if I run that, and then if I do num, you can see we have a nested list here, so I'm going to get rid of that. So I have num like that, and then I do num. Just do this the one time, by the way. Don't do this multiple times, otherwise you get an error, and actually you'll index again with just this being equal to 34. So I'll just show you that actually. So that's, and then we have 34. So we don't want that, of course. So I'm going to do simply num here, and then I'm going to simply do append with just 100 this time. Okay, then we go here, as you can see. Alright, so moving on from that, let's say I want to change the order of the values here. So I could do num.sort, and it's going to be from lowest to highest. As you can see here, 2 to 100. Alternatively, I could do the reverse, from highest to lowest, as you can see here. But I'm going to put this back to this one here. Alright, and let's say, for instance, I want to change the number of elements here. So I'm going to put another one in, but instead of appending, which simply just adds on another element to the end here, I want to have one in a specific position. So let's say I want it in between 22 and 34 here. So we're going to do 0, 1, and then we'll do 2 here. So let's say we do num.insert, and if you do shift and tab, you can see that we have 2 parameters this time, so index and objects. Okay, so I'm going to do, let's say 2, and I'll put in 200, and then I'll do num. Okay, so you have it in between 22 and 34 here. Alright, and let's say, for instance, I want to remove one of the values here, so I'm going to do the opposite of the appends, and that's going to be num.pop. And all that's going to do is remove the last element, which is going to be 100 here, and it outputs it as well. Then we do num, and you can see we don't have the 100 anymore. Alright, and let's say I create a new one. So I have a new list, and we have this as items equals, let's just do some strings, car, robots, and we'll do ball. Okay, then I'll do items, just outputs, and then I'll do, let's say, items. This is going to be an example of mutability. So I'm going to change the car string to, let's say, PS4. Run that, and then if I do items, you can see now I have PS4 instead of car here. Okay, and let's say I want to do items.append, and then we'll do num, and then do items. You can see now I have the nested list here of these values, so I could do items indexed by 0, and we get PS4. I do 1, I'm going to get robots. 2, I get ball. And then, of course, 3, I'm going to get the nested list, as you can see here, from 2 to 45. Alright, let's say I want to insert a value inside of the nested list here. So what I'm going to do is actually do index of 3, keep that, and then if I do .tab, you can see I don't get any options, so you have to actually, unfortunately, use a particular method or function that you can remember offhand that's applicable to the lists. So instead, otherwise you just simply get the IPyNB checkpoints. So we don't want that. So I'm going to do insert, and then we'll have 3, and I'm going to put in hey, like so, on that. And then if I do items, you can see I have hey in here. Now I'm going to actually index just to grab the string itself. So it's going to be, of course, 3. And then we do here, it's going to be another 3. So 0, 1, 2, and 3 here. And then I do simply a 0 to get the actual string itself. So Without that, it would just be a list. And then if I do type, wrap that round, we should just get str for string, as you can see here. Okay, so that concludes my lecture on lists and range. I hope it's been insightful, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Thanks.